Hey, Sean here, um, bringing a video about e-bikes, things you might want to know or consider before making your first purchase on an e-bike. I'm out in the woods. I'm not on an e-bike, if you can't tell. I've been hiking around. I just put up a deer blind and I'm hiking back to my spot. I'm a little disappointed I don't have an e-bike to make it to my spot and back, to just get to my breath. And I'm sharing that because I got on an e-bike my first time was at a convention center for hunting, and I loved it. I thought it was a gimmick, but then when I got on that thing, I just absolutely loved it. And I think there is a market for hunters with e-bikes that Quiet Cat and Rambo doesn't reach, because their price point is so high. And anyway, so I was looking into a lot of starter bikes, and I was just excited about bikes. And I wasn't really paying attention to some other things that now I'm like, before I actually make my first purchase, I think is really important that I pay attention to, from my experience. And I think you should pay attention to as well. And that first one is the company. You have to know the company. So this is what really triggered it, is in my excitement, in my enthusiasm, and probably a bit of my naiveness, I was thinking, oh man, this niche group with this target, this bike, I think it really could interest a lot of hunters. And I'm like, I couldn't afford the bike, even though it was just $1,000. And I was being a little impulsive. I reached out to the company and said, hey, this is who I am. I believe there's this niche market. I think I could help bring some videos and reviews, and I planned out like 4 or 5 review videos, reaching to them and just to the general audience. Well, I thought it was a long shot. I didn't really expect a reply from the company, but they did. They replied to me and they sent me just several questions, which they sent it at 5 a.m. This was Friday now. At 9 a.m. when I got it, because they were based in China, I replied back to them. We had the weekend, no reply, didn't expect one. Monday rolls around, no reply. Tuesday rolls around, no reply. Wednesday, I go to email, follow up with them saying, hey, I hadn't heard back from you. Just wanted to make sure you got my email, and I reattached it, blah, blah. Get an automated message saying you can't deliver the email. Try that, go to their website, copy paste that. I'm realizing, did they block me? And so I could reach out to customer service. Customer service says, they got that automatic reply comes up, says, we got your email, we'll get back to you shortly. Well, several days, no response. And it's not a big deal. Like, it's their full right, it's their business not to want to give me a bike, of course, for review. They checked me out. I'm small potatoes. They probably thought even if I did do all that I said I'd do, they wouldn't get enough traction to make it worth it. Totally understandable. I get it. But how they handled it, to me, is really concerning. It was unprofessional. Because as a company, they're supposed to be professional, and they should have just said, hey, I don't think this is a good fit for us. We thank you for your consideration or whatever. And they could have rejected me a million ways. That got me to thinking that by their unprofessionalism, got me to thinking that they could have the same attitude towards customer service. Now, I'm not saying if you figure out what this company is, I'm not saying they do. I don't know. I've not been down that road. But before I get in bed with a company, I will need to know, are they a good company to work with? Are they going to treat you like the way they treated me, or are they going to fix the problem? I have watched several videos where people talked about that. There's a million companies out there selling e-bikes, and that doesn't mean they're all reputable or they will take care of your needs. I've heard of complaints. So know your company. Don't just get excited about that bike, but starting looking into their company. Go to their Facebook group related to that bike. Go to different e-bike sites and check out their reviews on not the bike, but customer service. Because that leads to the second point. Once you get a bike, can you get it serviced? Certain components put on bikes may not be serviceable, or you might not be able to find parts. And if you have a place that will work on it, can they find parts? Again, it goes back to that company. If you don't know your company well, they may not have replacement parts. And can you even get it serviced? I'm fortunate in my community, we have a business in town that sells bikes, a box store, and they said they will work on any bikes, and they said we have an amazing mechanic and electrician that they will figure it out, the problem, and rig it up and make it work for you. And they just will charge me by the hour. Now, that's nice. I know I have that available. I probably would do most of it myself, but I'm sure there's things I would run into that I couldn't do. There's other businesses that if they don't sell that brand, they're not going to service your bike. So you want to know, one, you want to know your company. Two, can you get that bike serviced? And 2 and 3 are related. Can you find parts for it? If their website sells the parts, that's encouraging. You can obviously get parts. If you buy from a box store, commonly, especially if it's an e-bike store, that's what they target, they'll probably have parts available. And that's something to consider too, is if you go to a box store, you might pay more because they're that middleman, but you know they're going to take care of you. You know they're going to be there for you and to help you throughout that process, and they're going to guarantee that warranty. Just because a company in China says they have a warranty, trying to get them to fulfill it may, again, if you didn't do your research in advance, may be hard if you have a problem within that first year or two. But again, box stores, you won't have that problem. You know that they're there, you know you can get the stuff, and you know you're going to be helped. You just might pay a little bit more up front. So those are a couple things to consider. And then in my research and just about e-bikes, I thought it was really fascinating how many bikes look the same. And I was wondering why at all these different websites that I'm going to, why is their bikes so similar? Well, come to find out, most of these places that are getting e-bikes are buying them from the same manufacturers. There's only a handful of manufacturers in the world that make e-bikes, and they're distributing them to all these people. So that's why if you go to one store to the next, all that's really being changed is some of the components and the logo. Most of the product is actually just copied from manufacturer, sending them out to a whole bunch. So when you do your research, look at the components, look at what parts they're using. Are they name brand parts? Can you get them replaced? And, trying to continue walking. Can you get them parts replaced? Should have stayed in the shade. Got some shade up here. And I'm not too worried about some of the structure of the bike. It's the components. And know what you want. What are you going to use it for? Right now, you can't really see it. I want an e-bike to go off-roading, but I also wanted it to be able to commute to work. So I wanted a comfortable bike that I could sit upright, foldable, with fat tires. And there are some that sell very off-brand cheap tires. There's some that sell name-brand tires. Again, know what you're getting. Look into the details of it, because if you're buying directly from the company direct, you don't want to find yourself dealing with problems later on, especially for how much you're investing. And if you would like for me to do a review of an e-bike, if you're a company, I would be love to get it and give you my honest feedback. I really do believe that there is an industry, or there's a market for hunters. There's a lot of them that like the idea of an e-bike, but that can't afford the name high-end brands. And if you would like me to try your bike in this kind of junk, I would love to do so. A lot of times when you see these reviews and they go off-road, it's either on a bike trail, which is good, and you want to know that, or it's like literally just into mowed grass or thick grass. I want to be able to take it out and see how well it does in here and test the suspension. So if you want that kind of review, hit me up. I'll be glad to help you out, and we can help one another. You guys have a great day. Thank you. Keep those things in consideration. Know the company. Can you get it serviced? Can you get parts? You want to know all three of those things before you make that final purchase. Have a great one. Bye.